All right, let's talk the Lions roster. We're going to make sense of this roster before the final cuts. We're going to do a little preview of what cuts I think could happen. I think cuts have to be final by Tuesday at 4 o'clock. But anyways, this is what we know. The Lions have already made 13 cuts that we already know about. We're going to talk about those, but that leaves over 20 to be done. So we're not even close to done there yet. So we're going to talk about some players that aren't going to make it. We're even going to do some quick math and see if we can get ourselves to the 53-man roster. But there's also been some things that have happened that it's like, okay, we're going to see what's happening with this. Now, I don't have all the up-to-date news. I've been at church today, all that kind of stuff. It's my job. So this is the other job. But anyways, let's get into it. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and share this. This is up-to-date news as the Lions move to the 53-man roster. I'm not a Twitter guy, so I love Pride of Detroit. We're going to go on this. So here's what we know. These are the guys that have been cut. These are the guys. And so you have Devine Ozigbo, Trinity Benson, Avery Davis, Jason Moore, Daniel Helm, Alex Mollett, Obina Eze, Darren Paulo, Jermaine Ifedi, Bobby Hart, Christian Covington, Colby Richardson, and Scott Nelson. Usually when you have the first cuts, it's kind of the obvious ones. But I don't think Jermaine Ifedi was an obvious cut, at least to most people. I thought he looked slow as can be out there on the field. I don't think Christian Covington was an obvious cut to everyone. So we're already getting a couple of these people where it's like, all right, what does this look like? So let's start at the quarterback position. It's Jared Goff. It's Teddy Bridgewater. That's who it's going to be. I think Adrian Martinez and Nate Sudfeld. Unfortunately for Sudfeld getting hurt in that final preseason game, I don't know how bad that's going to be, but it didn't look great. I think that killed his chances of making this roster, which is really unfortunate. Hendon Hooker will be ready later in the year, possibly as an emergency type quarterback, if they need him. So yeah, I think we keep two quarterbacks, which allows us then, if you see me looking down, I'm writing numbers at each position because I want to add them up at the end. At running back, I see us keeping Montgomery, Gibbs, Reynolds, and then maybe Kabinda. So I'm going to put us at 4, but I think it's very likely we go out and pick someone up that another team has dropped. We've talked about Eagles. We've talked about going and getting someone off their roster because they have 5 or 6 very good running backs. I think Trey Sermon is there, unlikely to necessarily make the team. And if he doesn't make the team, a running back that was actually good last year is going to get cut unless they keep 6 or 5 running backs. So that's there. Wide receivers, we're down to 8 right now. I think this is a position where we keep more players. I think we start with 6. I think St. Brown is an obvious lock. Reynolds, Raymond, Jones. Lock. And then, based on the last preseason game, based on what we're hearing from the beat reporters, from people that are able to be at every single practice, what Antoine Green and Dylan Drummond showed in that final preseason game is similar to what they've been showing through training camp. Same with Chase Cota. We saw him flash in the first preseason game, but the last 2 he struggled. He's had a couple drops, and they're saying that is similar to what he has shown in or throughout training camp. So I think you can look at this list, and I think it goes down to Antoine Green. I think Cota and Alexander are gone, so that leaves us keeping 6 wide receivers. At tight end, I think you're keeping 3. I think you have 3 tight ends: Brock Wright, Sam Laporta, James Mitchell. Daryl Daniels, outside chance. And they're obviously still thinking about a couple of things at the back end because they cut Helm, but they're leaving Daniels there. On the offensive line, this is where things get interesting. I am surprised Jermaine Ifedi was part of that early cut. Maybe they're cutting him early so they can hope that if he's cut early, they can get him back on the practice squad, maybe keep him, in on the team without anybody noticing. But you got Decker, Jackson, Ragnow, Vaitai, Sewell, Glasgow, Sorsdal, Nelson, 100% not locks. in my opinion. So, and then so that means that they are keeping 5 interior guys and 3 tackles at this point. I wouldn't be surprised to see us try and go make a move, but also they might be confident that Colby Sorsdahl might actually be able to play tackle in a pinch if they absolutely need him to. Also, remember, Halapulu Ivati Vaitai, although not great at it, played tackle for the Eagles. And they might be saying he's better than Jermaine Ifedi already at tackle. So that might be all you need is the 8 offensive linemen. So that leaves us with 2, 6, 12, 15, 23 offensive players. It's not a large number of offensive players. All right. So that leaves us with the ability to have 29 defensive players. So on the interior defensive line, I think McNeil is staying. Bugs is staying. Levi showed enough that I think he's going to stay, along with Benito Jones and Broderick Martin. So that's 5 already right there. Like, that's a lot of players on the defense, on the interior defensive line, but all those guys have shown that they should have it. If somebody's on the outside looking in, it might be Benito Jones just because of the upside of Onwuzurike, but I think we keep 5 because it's there. Christian Covington got cut because Levi Onwuzurike got healthy enough. At the edge, I could see us keeping all 6. Like, I know it sounds crazy to keep 11 defensive linemen, but why not? As far as the linebackers go, if someone's gone, by the way, it's Julian Okwara. It just is. It just is. That's my opinion. On the linebacker, you have 5 linebackers that are going to make this roster. A minimum of 5 linebackers that are going to make this roster. A guy that came out of nowhere was Trevor Nowaski. He played great special teams in that final preseason game. He played pretty good in the game. I thought he looked faster. I thought he looked better than Pittman. And I think he moved ahead of Pittman. And the question is left is it Reeves-Maybin or is it Nowaski? So I give him a weird outside shot, but Jalen Reeves-Maybin is the guy who's going to make this team. They brought him back. It makes sense unless they want to go with a young guy that they can continue to develop. If they think he's close enough to Jalen Reeves-Maybin and he can produce on special teams, why not? Now let's look at corner. Sutton, lock. Jacobs, lock. Branch, lock. Harris, probably a lock. Probably. And I think you could still take Thomas, Lucas, and one of these guys has got to go. Gilmore, I know Dorsey's out. If he stays, Emmanuel Mosley not part of the 53 because he's on the IR because he's missing the first 4 games. You could put him there. Then you could actually keep 7 corners for a second. Like, you could actually keep 7 corners, which is kind of nuts. And then Dorsey and Mosley are gone. On the safety side of things, you have CJ Gardner-Johnson, Kirby Joseph, Tracy Walker. They're all locks. They're locks. Those 3 guys are locks. And you got to understand, too, I'm saying keeping 7 corners, but Brian Branch can also play safety. So with safety, I'm going to put us down for 3, and I'm going to see what numbers look like. So on defense, that gives us total 5, 11, 16, 23, 26. All right, that puts us at a total of 49 on the roster. We can keep 53. All right, so Jack Fox, Scott Daly, Riley Patterson, that brings us to 52. We have spot for one more person. That one more person could be Brady Breeze. That one extra person could be on the offensive side of the ball. It could be another running back. That one extra person could be, we were talking about keeping 6 or even 7 edge defenders. That could be the 7th edge defender. So you have more resources on the defensive end, which is fine. They get tired faster, and you can still keep your special teams units in place. But now, all of a sudden, you're starting to see why teams keep 2 quarterbacks instead of 3. So we're starting to make sense of this. There's a lot of depth that can be kept, and not a lot of players that are it's going to make us say, like, oh, no. That is people like Kayode Iwosika, that's an outside shot to make the roster. Brad Cecil, Max Percher, Connor Galvin, Ryan Swoboda. Are we impressed with any of these guys when they were playing? No. So, like, there's a lot of depth that is still here. That could be Darnell Daniels, that 53rd spot. So, it seems to me like we can get down to 52. The question is who's going to have that final spot, in my opinion. And I think you can have Lucas, Starling Thomas, and Stephen Gilmore all make this team. So, let's make some sense of it. Let's see how dumb I look when the actual cuts come out. And also know that there could be more cuts, and then we could be taking people from other teams, or we get to 53, we pick up a running back from another team, and then all of a sudden one of these guys gets cut. But that is my prediction for the initial 53. Leave a comment. Is there someone I left out that you want on this team? Tell me why. Who do you agree with? All that good stuff. Leave a comment, like it, and subscribe, y'all. See you on the next video. Thanks for watching.